Okay, very good evening, good morning. So we have close to 23 plus people and people from different time zone. So let's start the demo. So welcome to SuccessFactor Employee Central Core demo. Okay, and the training will be started very soon. And today we are going to talk about Employee Central Core. Okay, so what is Employee Central? Why you should learn employee central and what is the benefit out of it, all those things we will be discussing in detail. And if you have any questions, yes, I am ready to take the questions. You can stop and ask me the questions. I may not see the chat questions. I will respond at the end. So the first question what people have, is this too technical? Correct. So people, I am from a different background. I am from a HR background. I am from a non-engineering background. I am from HR. I am from BBA, BCom. I am not technical. I'm afraid to do technical work. So is this too technical? So I would say it is not technical. So the straightforward answer to this question is it is not technical. Why it is not technical? Okay, so the amount of technical job what you are going to do is hardly 10% or 15% what you do in the XML coding. Now even the XML coding can be avoided and you can directly do the changes in the instance without the XML coding. So I would say on an average, you can say 10% of the coding work you will be doing it, and that is also not too complicated, and you will be getting the complete clarity of what you are going to do the technical part. So who can attend this training? Who are the target audience? So people who have experience in the HR functions, okay, whether it is recruitment, generalist, or complaints, or separations, or whatever the HR background, and also people who are in the other ERP like no SAP, HCM, PeopleSoft, Oracle, Taleo, Workday, they can also do it. And graduates with a good understanding of HR functions, those who know how the HR works, and also from other HR cloud technology. So they can all work. Now, yes, you all would have gone through what is success factor, all those things, and what is the origin of success factor. Okay, when success factor was founded. Okay, so in 2001 it was founded, and where it was founded, yes, of course, it is an American company, and where it was headquarters, you can see it is San Francisco, California, and also what is the base of this company. Okay, so they are into human capital, like we say HCM, so employees. And the solutions what they used to give is a SaaS model solution. So this was the origin of success factor. Now, acquisitions. Okay. So what are the acquisitions by success factor? So success factor, which are the companies they have acquired? Now you can see, okay, Info HR, an Australian-based company, analytics company, was acquired by SuccessFactor, and also in 2010, you have this UCalc, okay, a Denmark-based company, also was acquired by SuccessFactor, where SuccessFactor was acquiring companies, and also one of the jobs to Weblink, okay, that company also was acquired by SuccessFactor. So imagine SuccessFactor was able to acquire companies. Now, SuccessFactor acquired by SAP. So now the previous slide, what you have seen is SuccessFactor was acquiring, and now you can see SuccessFactor was acquired by SAP. So when it was acquired, okay. So on an average, I would say 2012 to 13 time. So it was once SAP acquired SuccessFactor. Okay, so then they were getting ready to face the world requirement. Till then they are famous only within US. Okay, so they are not very famous as SAP HCM outside the US market. So when they were acquired by SAP, then they became a global product in the market. Okay, so now, yes, they are in the global product. Okay, so now they have implementations all over the world, but what technology they are into? They are into cloud. So now, what is cloud? So to give you a clarity, what is cloud? Yes, you can see in this slide. Okay, software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, functions as a service. These are all put together, they give a cloud service. What is the difference? Okay, we can say, okay, the so-called on-prem, okay, or the so-called HCM, SAP HCM system, okay, it was a on-premise system where you maintain the server in your place. Okay, now here that issue is not there. Okay, so the software is been given as a service, the platform is been given as a service, and the infrastructure where you maintain all your services, the servers have been given as a service, and also the functions all are given as a package. Now, types of cloud. Okay, see, okay, cloud now understood. All these four services are put together called cloud. But what are the different types of cloud? So you have a public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. Public cloud where all the different data are been stored. Private cloud. Okay, private cloud is a place where only your data is secured with the firewall. Okay, so not anyone can get the data, only with the proper access you can get the data. Then what is hybrid? There is something called on-prem and cloud. Okay, on-prem is the server that you maintain at your place, and also the hybrid is a cloud is a data is maintained at a remote place. So some of the projects where they go for hybrid, where they wanted to maintain some of the data within themselves, within the premises, with the proper infrastructure, and also some of the data they wanted to maintain at the cloud. So that is called hybrid cloud. And community cloud and multi cloud at this point of time, I feel that it is not required for you guys now, because SuccessFactor typically handles with public, private, and hybrid. These are the three types of cloud where SuccessFactor handles. Now, HCM is no longer enough. Organizations are adopting human experience management to increase the people business impact. What is this? See, the HCM is a typical focus on the human capital, but now the experience, employee experience, where the human experience management designed to add how things are done. Okay, so to maximize the experience of every user, whoever logs into the system, they should get the experience of seeing the data, working on the system. Okay, they should feel that. Whereas the HCM part, it was not a very user friendly also. So that is the reason where the name is come, human experience management. Now, okay, truly a global product. What exactly it is? See, SuccessFactor has got translations and global access available in 47 languages plus. I think by now they should be in more than 47 languages, and also it is a global product. It supports all the multi-language time zone, and also the currency supports. And if you talk about the localization, it supports every country's local requirement. Okay, so we can see here 100 plus localized versions it is available, and truly a global process with a single source of truth for HR data. So it's all type of HR data and all types of localization, globalization data are in all different languages with a global access. It is available. Now you can see, okay, the countries that are supported. Okay, so it's almost 104. So you can see here, SuccessFactor, how it supports. Okay. Now the languages also you can see here 47 plus languages. When you talk about India, we do have SuccessFactor in Hindi, and also the predominantly what we use is English, and we have English UK and also English US. So which we predominantly use it, and even for us to know, even in Hindi also it is available. Of course, that's not majority or in practice, but still you can check that it is available in Hindi, the language pack. Now, What is success factors? Okay, now, yes, before I go to the next slide, any questions till now, the overview that I gave about success factors? If any questions, yes, I will take it now. If no questions, I will move forward. Okay, so silence, I will take it as no questions. Okay, now employee central. Okay, this is what we are going to see, and you can see here employee central is at the bottom. Okay, on top of employee central, you can see goals, performance, workforce, recruiting, comp, learning, succession, jam, and analytics. Why employee central is at the bottom? On top of it, all these are built. Okay, so you have something called core module and also the talent suite, talent module. Okay, so core module is nothing but employee central. Okay, so why employee central is called as a core module, or we can also say it as source system for success factor. Okay, or the baseline. Why? See, for anything related to HR, what is important? The organization data and the employee data. Correct. So employee data includes of employee and employment. Okay, so employee data and employment data, that includes the compensation data also. So any module, okay, whether it is a goals management, performance management, if they wanted to appraisal, conduct appraisal, they wanted to build a sheet, okay, appraisal task they wanted to, goals they wanted to build. Then they want to know the organization data, which department, which division the employee belongs, what is the location, what is his first name, last name, all this data should come from employee central. So that is why employee central is the core module. So any module in SuccessFactor, okay, the talent module, they need support from employee central. And you might have a questions. What if I don't have employee central? If I wanted to implement only performance and goal management or recruiting or compensation, learning or succession, can we go ahead and do it? Yes, we can go ahead and do the implementation. Instead of employee central, we need to have something called employee profile. So employee profile is the gateway to get the data from employee central. So if you do not have employee central, we can also, let's say if we have SAP HCM, then we can have employee profile. Through employee profile, we can get the data what we wanted for performance management, goal management, recruiting, compensation, whatever for that matters. Okay. And next, tools are used in SuccessFactor. Okay. What are the different tools we use in SuccessFactor? Okay, there are two things we use. One is called provisioning and the second one is called admin center. And admin center, we also call it as instance. So instance is one thing and the provisioning is the second thing. Provisioning is mostly, not very frequently we do the work, and we do an initial setup in provisioning, and also the regular work we do it in the admin center, or we call it as instance. Okay, so the look and feel will look like this only when you log into provisioning through username and password. Okay, this is what you can see: the company ID, company name, and the account ID. And this in the training, we will log in and I will show all the activities we do it in the provisioning. Next, what is that after provisioning? So admin center, or we call it as instance. This is how the admin center will look. This is the home page. So in admin center, you also have something called home page. And this is the new look of admin center. So the previous screen, what you saw, this is the old look of the admin center. And now this is the new look of home page and this is the new look of admin center. You can see here admin center and you can see here home page and admin center. Now, what is the business, okay, methodology that is used in the implementation of a projects? Okay, so now every projects with regard to the success factor, every project we start, it will have a discovery and the setup and the fit to standard. Okay, so all this category, if you talk with the phase wise, you will have a discovery, prepare. Okay, discovery is a normal one where their team everything is done. And for us, for the implementation point of view, we will have a prepare, explore, realize, deploy, and run. Okay, so till deploy, till go live. Okay, these are the four various stages that we perform during the implementation. I will talk more about the different phases in the coming slide. So now the methodology. What is the methodology is predominantly used in SuccessFactor implementation. Somebody said can't hear anything. Am I audible, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I think Yashwant, you can leave and you can join again. So you should be able to hear. Yeah, thank you for confirming. So now coming back, the activate methodology concept, what we predominantly follow in the projects. Okay, any success factor projects we take, prepare, explore, realize, and deploy. Okay, so these are the various activities we perform, and see, though we have a lot of processes in place, in practical, every project will follow its own way of deploying in the work. Okay, so some depends on the customer also, we will have it something called iteration. Okay, see, success factor recommends three level, or let's say iteration 1, 2, and 3. Some customers, okay, if they feel no, we don't want to go for three level of iterations, we want to go one or two iteration, that should be enough because our requirement is not so huge. In such cases, okay, the process will deviate. Instead of three iterations, custom we will prefer to do two iterations only. So though we have the activate methodology, but there will be slight changes in the projects that we follow. So next, what is the process? Okay, every projects will have a process. Okay, so now first you might think, why all these things I should be knowing it? See, if you do not know how the product is working, then only knowing what is the product will not help you. Okay, so ideal, so I think most of you from the SAP, HCM, or any other technology background, you should be knowing it. For those who are not from the technical background, or let's say IT background, who are from HR background, for them this should be useful. So the project activity, business maturity assessment, we do it, and then the assessment, best practice configurations. These are the one. Project orientation, you have the kickoff presentation of best practice of configuration. So this is where you do the workshop, other everything, and you have a data migration, and data migration is a very big things that we have to do, and also the configuration workshop. So all these configurations, what customer wants, you show what customer wants, you do the configuration, you show the customer, then again they say some changes, then you do redo it. So all these things happens, and then you get to a final configuration testing. So you complete all the final configuration, then go for a testing, then train the trainer, triple TTT, they say train the trainer, then go live planning will happen, production readiness, and the transition of go live. So once the go live happens, then you will have something called hypercare. So hypercare is normally lasts for 1 to 3 months. Then the actual support will start for any project. Now, what is this end to end overview? Attract to hire. Okay, so now if you talk about this slide, okay, in fact, we can talk for more than 30 minutes on this single slide, but still considering the time, we will try to cut short it. Okay, this slide gives a complete overview of the success factor landscape or the modules. You have a recruiting that happens. Once the recruiting happens, the onboarding pre-day and the hiring of people happens in the system. Onboarding, actual onboarding happens. Once onboarding happens, okay, you have various activities that are followed in the system. Okay, I didn't, once an employee join, they set the goals, they do the performance, they do the review, they check the performance rating based on what are the learnings the employee has to do, and the rewards, salary system, rewards and recognition, variable pay they do, this is succession, they do leave management, payroll and positions, managing employee data, different types of transaction work that happens, any workflow that can be done, and any global assignment. Someone goes on on-site, they will have a global assignment, benefits. All these things will happen in this particular circle. Once employee decides to leave, then employee or employment. So when we say um, resignation, okay, the term resignation is not widely used in success factor. We use it as termination. Okay, termination means it's not that somebody is terminated. It's a termination means nothing but resignation. So the termination can be voluntary or involuntary. So termination raised by an employee, termination raised by a employer. Okay, once that is done, then we do a offboarding. So what you see here is onboarding and what you see here is offboarding. Onboarding when an employee enters inside in the company. Offboarding is when an employee leaves the company and the end of employment. Otherwise, if they continue to be in the company till the retirement, then it comes the retirement. Okay. So now, okay, attract and recruiting. Okay. So now in this, if you see all these complete processes are covered here one by one, I will tell. New position, okay, from the success factor point of view, employee central, okay, how the workforce are managed. There is a new position is created, okay, and for the position there is a requisition that is created. Positions are created in employee central. Okay, please remember this. Positions are created in employee central, whereas for the position the requisition, or we see it as a JD, job description, part of requisition, that is created in the recruiting system. Once that is created, okay, job is posted, applicants come, candidates interview, selected candidates, offer is made, offer is accepted, ready for hiring. Okay, see, only the position is created, then the employee central position is integrated with the recruiting system through a business rule. Once the integration is done in the recruiting, all the recruiting process is happening. After the recruiting process happens, onboarding activities, managing the employee onboarding activities, I mean not employee, candidate. Now once the onboarding activities are managed, employee joins the company, we call it as hire or rehire. So if the employee joins first time in the company or already a old employee, it's a rehire. Once employees join, updating the personal information, updating employment information, and then position update. Okay, position changes, anything. All this data is maintained here. Now, any employee who joins, you will have a probation, temporary, and then change in work, so any off-cycle salary increase, anything will do, and the leave of absence, managing leave. Anybody goes for a leave, all this maintain. Global assignment, managing global assignment. Somebody goes on a short term to on-site and comes back, then you will have cross-boarding. What is cross-boarding? Okay, mostly this is called IJP. You will have internal job posting. So whenever an employee moves from one job to another job within the organization, we call that as a cross-boarding, which is part of a onboarding module. Okay, so when we talk about onboarding in the previous slide, we saw onboarding and offboarding. So when an employee joins, it is onboarding. When an employee resigns and does the final formalities, that is called offboarding. But in between, an employee moves from one position to another position, one department to another department, then transfer. But when the job role changes, like we say, some of you guys are HR, okay, from human resource, when you are moving to a IT, when you are moving to a success factor consultant within the organization, then you are basically a cross-boarding. So one position to another position you are doing, then you are applicable for the cross-boarding activities. Internal hire. So it's a very simple term, internal hire. We call it as internal job posting. Okay. Then when it comes to terminations, okay, voluntary terminations, involuntary termination, and the third one is retirement. And of course, any death of an employee might happen. Then for all these reasons, you will have the termination, okay, that you need to maintain. Once a termination is happening, then you do a offboarding activities. uh, I would like to say, if you understood these processes, learning success factor is very, very easy, because Any activity you do it in SuccessFactor, Employee Central, okay, you will be running behind any of these scenarios only. Okay, this is a very, very important slide, heart of the presentation, I would say. If you get a complete clarity, yes, you are done. You guys are clear with the concept. Learning is not a big challenge. In fact, configuration is not a big challenge. You can Google it, you can check someone, you can ask your friends, you can take some remote support help from some seniors, and you can do all those things. But when you are a success factor consultant, when you are playing the role of a success factor consultant, understanding these slides are very, very important. So this is the employee central activities from hire to termination, I would say. Okay, onboarding to offboarding, and also crossboarding. All these things, any features, any activity you do in employee central, you will be running behind any of these scenarios only. Okay, yes. Position deactivation. Once an employee is terminated, what will happen to position? So there are two options. One, you can replace the employee in the same position. The new hire can be given to the same position. If not, you can deactivate the position. Okay. So position done. Okay. There is an option. Once it is done, you can again create a requisition for the same position or create a new position and go for a requisition creation. Again, the same circle. Okay. Once an employee is terminated. Okay. So now the landscape of success factor. What is the different things that you have it in SuccessFactor? Okay, all the modules are covered in this single slide. Okay, you have Employee Central, which is the core. Okay, the Employee Central also includes of, I would say, almost equal to employee central configuration, time off and benefits. Okay, you can do them independently, or you can also do it along with the employee central. Okay, time off and global benefits. Time off is now when employee central came. Okay, so when employee central, people are preferring time off was not liked by majority of the customers. The reason was it was not able to meet the requirement of the customers, because customers who were using SAP time management, okay, they started thinking from time management point of view, and they thought time off will give all those features that are available in time management. In that scenario, I would say time off failed to fulfill the requirements of the customer. Now it is picking up. Okay, now if you see 8 years back how time off module, and now if you see time off module, there is almost, I would say, 300 400 percentage of development happen in this product. And earlier it was only time off and only applying leave, all those things, leave of absence. But now the time sheet, okay, so positive, negative, a lot of things have come in time off. And also with regard to benefits, and benefits is one module which is predominantly done or predominantly implemented in the US region. Okay, so outside US region, not majority of the customer would prefer, but still there are some customer prefers for global benefits. Okay, and you have learning, okay, and you have CDP, SPCDP, is succession management, career development planning, and again performance management. You have 360-degree global goal management, and also continuous rewards and recognition, VP, variable pay, compensation management, and calibration. When it comes to the recruiting, you have recruiting posting, recruiting marketing, and recruiting management, candidate experience, and recruiter experience. Earlier, there was only one called recruiting management or recruiting module. Then the RMK, recruiting marketing, came into place. And then you have this analytics, okay, workforce analytics and the headcount planning. And headcount planning is something, no, that some of the customers they would be very prefer, and which is a part of the analytics one. In addition to that, you also have something called platform tools. What are those platform tools? Okay, the intelligence services, integration centers, okay, extensive center, people profile. Okay, in these platform tools, I would say, okay, some of the platform tools are not meeting the actual requirement of the customer, but still they are in the process of development of the product. So okay, so if I would say maybe after down the line 2 3 years of time, these tools will do a fantastic job. This is what I assume. Okay, the same thing is covered here. So now, when we talk about employee central core, there is something called foundation data, employee data. Okay, what are those foundation data? Okay, when we talk about foundation data, any company, okay, so you should have the structure in place. What is this structure in place? Or perhaps I don't know what is a structure because I come from a core HR background or a non-technical background. Okay, the structures are into four different things, but the standard is three, and the fourth one is the custom. So org structure, we call it as organization structure, and we also in the SAP terminology, people use the term called enterprise structure. So if you want, you can make a note of this. Org structure, enterprise structure, both are same. So in SuccessFactor, we call org structure, organization structure. In the SAP terminology, we call it as enterprise structure. Then job structure. Okay. So what is the different types of objects that are used for the job position? Okay. Pay structure, anything related to the compensation, salary. Okay. So that is called pay structure. In addition to that, some of the customers might have, based on their business module, they might have a custom also. Maybe they feel this is part of their structure, but when we think from the success factor point of view, that would be fitting into the custom structure. And what you see, employee data, and there are two things you are seeing it: personal information portlet, job and employment information portlets. What are these? Okay, so any data, probably I will show the screens. What are the data that is filled in these portlets? I will show it here, and you can make a note of this. In SuccessFactor terminology, we call it as portlet, and from the SAP HCM terminology, we call it as info type. So info type portlets means the same, because when you are on the job, some people, okay, SuccessFactor people, they use portlets, and some of the customer who are comfortable of using or who have been using the SAP HCM for years, they will call it as info type. So you should not get confused. Portlet, info type means the same. It's only the term that they are using it, addressing it differently. Standard and custom fields. Okay. So all these things, what you see, portlets, okay, you have standard. If you want, you can also create a custom portlets. Now, what is this non-effective dated and effective dated? Very simple. Okay. Effective dated will have historical data. You can maintain historical data. Non-effective dated, you will not be able to maintain historical data. So basically, you can't have a history there in the non-effective dated portlets. Events and event reasons. Okay, so every transaction, any changes you make in the job and the compensation data, you need to select the event and event reason. You can make a note of this. Okay, event and event reason are also called actions and action reasons in the SAP HCM. Why, you might have this question, why I keep saying the terminologies in SuccessFactor and also the terminologies used in the SAP HCM. See, in the reality, okay, if you take 80% of the customer, okay, those who are having SAP HCM, they wanted to move from SAP HCM to SuccessFactor. What is the reason? One, SAP HCM will be decommissioned. They already told 2020, now 2025, 2020, 2030, but we are not sure when they are going to decommission it. This is the reason customer, they don't want to take a risk of going at the last moment. They prefer to do it as early as possible. That is the reason. If you think, if you are going for, let's say, out of 10 projects, 7 projects will be SAP HCM to SuccessFactor. So due to that, you should be knowing the terminologies, the terms that are used in SAP HCM, and also the terms that you are currently using it in SuccessFactor. Okay, so I said Portlet means info type. Here, event and event reason means actions and action reasons. And we have location and location group called personal area, personal sub area. So like that, we have different types. Here we call it as pay component. There it is called wage types. I will be telling it in the coming slides. And workflow. What is a workflow? Okay, so let's say if an employee apply changes the normal home address, or the employee changes some of the basic data, they changes the surname. Okay, now it's by mistake it was Mr. was not a Mr. Dinesh, Mr. XYZ person, we can have it. When an employee gets married, let's say a female employee gets married, she prefers to change her name, or an employee gets married, they want to change their marital status from single to married. Okay, so that is a huge change from the legal point of view. You might have this question, why it is huge change? Just a marital status is one field, just changing the field. No, you have to think from the product point of view. You have to think from the business point of view. An employee who is single is getting married and the marital status is changing. That means it's not only changing the marital status field, also adding the spouse detail, and also validate the marriage certificate. Because in the current scenario, you see a lot of things are there. Okay, so you need to check all those things. So what happens, there should be approval, someone should validate the document, someone should check the document. So when they when they change the marital status, there will be an attachment asked, please attach the marriage certificate and submit. When they submit, it goes for an approval. Okay, the approver could be a manager or a HR. So the HR is normally called HRBP, business partner they call. Okay, and also we call it HR. So this is how the workflow is followed, and you have approver 1, approver 2, approver numbers, and CC role and contributor role. These clarities, how to configure all these things, this clarity will be discussed more clearly in the training sessions. Here we will not have more time to discuss on this in depth. People profile. What is people profile? So whatever data you see under the job information, employment information portlets, and also personal information portal, all this together is called people profile. Okay, so you have a easy portlets, standard portlets, and also you have a custom portlets which you can design based on the customer requirement. Okay, I will take a pause here. Any questions? Yeah, please ask me. Okay, so you don't have to wait till the last moment. If you have any questions, please ask me now. Yes, I would be glad to answer all your questions.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, you just said that, the employee central, the timesheet and this payroll, everything in the previous screen.
Okay.
So are this, employee central is separate module like time roll pay sheet, or is it a combination, or is all the same?
Employee central. Okay, I'll show it here. Okay, see, employee central, time off and benefits. Okay, in employee central, you have employee central core is one module, time off is one module, global benefits is one module. Okay, so these are all three different. Okay, though all these three comes under employee central, but we differentiate employee central core, time off, and benefits. In time off, you have timesheet also. Okay. So timesheet is not a different module, but people try to make it, but timesheet is not a different module. In time off, timesheet also one of the configuration point of view. Okay, so let's say time of applying leave. Okay, paying, applying leave, maintaining the holidays and holiday calendar, and also maintaining the roster, timesheet, everything is part of time off. Whereas in employee central, you maintain the org structure, employee data, position data, pay structure, all these things you maintain. Whereas in benefits, you give insurance, medical, mediclaim, all those things will be maintained in the part of global benefits, or we call it as benefits. Okay. Yeah, any other questions?
And this payroll and this onboarding also, separate some modules?
Separate module. Okay, see, payroll, employee central payroll is nothing but A payroll module. Okay.
Okay.
So that's a different module, and employee central payroll, we name it. The reason is it is SuccessFactor product, whereas SAP HCM product is called payroll. So that is HCM payroll, and this is SuccessFactor employee central payroll. Onboarding is a different module. In onboarding, you have onboarding, offboarding, and crossboarding. So we cannot say offboarding as a single module. It's part of it.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Any other questions?
Thank you.
So, total how many modules under SuccessFactors?
You can see, the number of modules on the first slide only I showed you, right? You can see the number of modules here. See, when we say these are different modules, and again, no, succession planning, CDP, calibration, these are all, we call it as one module, but not a very big modules, honestly say. Okay. So though we have 16 plus SuccessFactors certifications are there, but when
Mhm.
you say succession management and career development planning, calibration, these are all small modules. Okay, so not a very big modules, I would say. You can see the modules here. Okay, so workforce planning, analytics, we can say, and analytics, workforce analytics, planning, headcount, all these things. In recruiting, we say recruiting management, recruiting marketing, two different modules in recruitment only. When you talk about onboarding, onboarding has got 1.0 and 2.0. So 1.0 is a legacy onboarding, 2.0 is built on MDF, metadata framework. And we say employee central. In employee central, we have employee central certification, time of certification. And also in learning management, sorry, in learning, we have benefit certification. Though benefit is not available in the certification hub, it is available in the training hub as a certification. Okay, and we have SAP Field Glass. Field Glass is not a SuccessFactor module, whereas it is a SAP module that is maintained for the contract worker. So contract worker, we call it as contingent worker in the SuccessFactor terminology. Okay, see here you see calibration. Okay, and 360-degree performance management, continuous feedback, goal management, these are all part of PMGM module. PMGM is nothing but a single module. Okay, you have variable pay, compensation. So different modules. Any other questions?
So here, I mean, we are going with, are we going with combination of only employee central or employee central with time off, sir?
No, we are going with only employee central core, because if I have to do all these things, no, employee central alone will take for almost the 40 hours of training. Okay. So if you imagine, if I go with time off and global benefits, no, every module, see, some of them they do it in 30 hours, but ideally 40 plus hours it might go on an average, I would say. Okay. It's a,
Okay.
because this training is not just covering off. This training will be a detailed training where you don't have to depend on others. You can do the configuration by yourself. Okay. So you can easily crack the interview. So that is how the training will be. It will be a very detailed and comprehensive training. And if you see, you expect no employee central is 30 to 40 hours. Then again, time off means time off, holiday calendar, time profile, time sheet, that will again go for another 40 hours. If you talk about benefits, then again benefits will go for another 40 hours. So it will be very long training. So that is why, no, I do only specific module. Employee central core and time off is a different training I take it, and onboarding is a different training I take it. Recruiting is a different training I do it. So I don't mix all put together.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions?
So we will be having openings on only employee central only, sir? General in general, because I'm not aware of this thing.
No, it's see,
When I,
you might have openings across all modules. Predominantly the opening comes for employee central, because any customer who wants to go for the SuccessFactor implementation, their first eye will be on the employee central, because that is the heart of the module. Because any module, or you talk about human resources, what is important? Company data, employee data, compensation data. So when you say employee data, personal information and employment information. So what is covered here under the foundation data? So this is what important, right? Without this data, you cannot do anything, correct?
Right.
Yeah. Someone has any questions? Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, Geeta, you have a question? I think you're talking. If no questions, we will move forward.
Hello.
Yes.
Uh, do I get a login of software actually to do daily or
Yes. Okay. Yes, I will cover that at the end. Okay. So the training includes 3 months server access. You will be getting the server access. It's a part of the training program. Okay. So I don't ask you to buy from elsewhere. So I only provide the server access also.
time?
Okay. So any other questions?
Do you provide placement also? Like, do you provide
Sorry,
placement?
can you be little louder?
Hello, am I
Yes.
audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So after this training, like you provide placements and all that also,
See,
like
I
a
help any opening comes. In fact, in my team, if any opening comes, any report support comes, I help. Okay, so I don't run a placement agency. I do training and I help in certification. Of course, if any requirement comes under my visibility, why not helping you guys? Okay, so I give my preference to the team whom I prepare, I train. Okay, so now in my team, almost 6 to 7 members whom I got trained. Okay, whom people who got trained by me are working with me. Okay, so 100% I can help you on that. Okay, any questions? Fine. So we'll move to this particular one. Now here, EP. Okay, so what is EP? So I was talking about Employee Central. Okay, you can also go or do the implementation without Employee Central. So if you remember, I was pointing out in one of the slide, employee profile. So what is employee profile? What do you mean by employee profile? So employee profile, you can write it if you want. Okay, it's a gateway to get the data from Employee Central. What is, see, success factor employee central, and let's say performance and goal management. Okay, so we need to set the goals for the employee, so we should know which department, which business unit, which location, what is his position, what is his job, what is his level, everything we should be knowing it. Why not directly coming getting the data from employee central? Okay, so here you need to understand from the product perspective. Okay, not just configuration perspective. The employee central is a closed module. It's a very secured module because it has got the heart of the informations: org structure, employee data, pay structure, all the data it has got. Now because of that, no other module they can take the data coming inside employee central. So they are being restricted. There is a gateway, there is a doorstop which is called employee profile. So whatever data, let's say PMGA module, what data you want, you take it from my door, which is the gateway. Just there, pick it up. Only the data that is required for other modules, those data can be configured in the employee profile and they can be sent to the, or the other modules can pick up the data from the employee profile. Okay, so very simple. Okay, you should know the difference, and this should be an 100% interview question also. At least whenever I take interview, I ask this question: difference between EC and EP. EC is the data all maintained in Employee Central, and EP is the place where the other modules in Employee Central, whatever their data they want, they can pick it up from employee profile. So how they will pick it up? We need to do the configuration. We should decide, or the customer will tell what data is required for other modules. Based on that requirement, we will define or we will configure only these many data should go to the other modules. So that is what we do it in employee profile. Now, how the data will look? So we discussed about no the employee central data. This is how the data will look. Okay, so in the coming slide, I will show more clarity about the data maintenance. And what you see here also is very clear: employee central and employee profile. In employee central, you have got so many informations. Okay, first name, last name, position, department, all those things you have got. Now, in this, through a HRA sync, the configuration sync, the data is moving to employee profile. Okay, so this is what you will have to do it. This is available, and for to get the informations, this is how you should be doing it. Now, as I said, okay, there is various iteration that are available, or the iteration that should be followed. Okay, any projects that you are deployed, okay, when you do the workshop, then you get the requirements, then you come do the configuration of the system, and you go and show the customer what is success factor system. So that is called iteration. And the first time it is called iteration 1, and the second it is called iteration 2, and the third it is called iteration 3. So success factor standard and the recommended practice is conduct iteration 3. Okay. In some cases, if the customer requirement is vanilla, okay, plain, and the number of employees are very less, there could be reasons. Iteration 1 and 2 only they follow. If the customer requirement is very complex, then they follow iteration 3 also. So iteration 1, you do it and you prepare the workbook. What is workbook? I will tell you in the coming slide. Okay, workbook, you can write it if you want. Workbook is important to the projects. You can write workbook should be perfect. Any mistake happens in workbook, the project will get disturbed. That is the issue here. Okay, so now workbook, we will discuss a detail about workbook in the coming slide. So now configure it in the system. The customer reviews the configuration, provides the feedback, and at the last they do, after the iteration 3, they give the sign off of the configuration. We have done it. So that is part of the project activity. This is the demo. Okay, so what you can see how the system looks. Okay, the org chart or the calendar or the data or the workflow or the org structure, how it looks. I'll show it in the coming slide also little clearly. So now, okay, data migration. Now you can say, yes, my customer was in SAP HCM. Now my customer is going to SAP SuccessFactor Employee Central. Now, when they are in Employee Central, okay, so you have done the configuration, everything is perfect, amazing, customer is very happy. Now, when they are migrating from one system to or one ERP to another ERP, can we directly start the system from day one, or do you want to maintain the old data also? Can anyone answer?
We need to maintain the old data also.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay. Further, I will ask, I'll put my question. Why it is required to maintain the old data? Any reason?
Because it takes time and you can occur some errors also in the new system. So for the meantime, you always need to access the previous data also for
Yes.
anything.
To have the historical data available in the current system.
Yes, agreed. Okay. Yes, these are the various reasons. Thank you. See, just because you have a fresh system, you cannot hire, let's say the customer is having 10,000 employees. Okay. Or let's say 5,000 employees, we'll keep it. Now, customer is having 5,000 employees. You got the new system. You cannot hire all these 5,000 employees newly, right? So what you migrate the data. Okay. Some customer, they prefer to have historical data. They would say, I need historical data last 1 year, last 2 years. They prefer. Okay. Ideal way, first one, we need to have the data. So there is something called data migration. So how you do the data? You get the data from the customer legacy system. Okay, the legacy system could be SAP HCM, Oracle, or PeopleSoft. It could be any system. Then you transform the data. See what you get, the template or the format what you get in the legacy system may not fit to the employee central. So employee central will require the data in the expected format. So what you need to do, you need to you need to transform the legacy data as per the SuccessFactor system expected format. Okay, so there is some 16 plus templates are there, which you need to prepare. Okay, the templates, in the template, as per the template, the data should be filled and it should be imported to the system. So that is the transformation we do from legacy system to the SuccessFactor system. And some customer prefer history data, some customer doesn't prefer history data. So it depends on customer to customer. Some are very adamant, they will say no, I need 5 years of data. It depends on customer to customer. Now the testing stages. So yes, configurations we do, we conduct the workshop, we get the requirement gathering, everything. But when I do the configuration, if I do the testing, I feel everything is perfect. But it should be done in a proper way. The testing should be done in a proper way. So we have a unit testing, iteration testing, integration testing. So unit testing, okay, SuccessFactor consultant does. Iteration testing is done by the customer. Okay, I do the configuration, I do the testing. Then I do the configuration, customer does the testing. The third, of course, I do the configuration, but integration testing. What is integration testing? See, if you ask me on this slide, I can talk for more than 30 minutes because testing is a very huge process and there are some role, no, SuccessFactor testing lead, SuccessFactor testing consultant. There are people, if you talk about a customer, let's talk about Coca-Cola, customer whose presence is the global. Okay, so Coca-Cola has got presence in 100 and plus countries. When we do the implementation for Coca-Cola for more than 100 countries, every country data, every country workflows, every country local customization should be tested by the SuccessFactor consultant, customer, and also the integration testing. So during that time, they hire people only for purely testing. Look at the workbook, look at the process, perform the testing in the system. So integration testing, what is integration testing? Is integration testing means that you have employee central integrated with the payroll system, integrated with the other third party system. Okay, we also call it as downstream system. And does anyone knows what is downstream system? Anybody from SAP HCM background or Oracle background? Fine, no problem. Okay, if you don't
Like
know, yes.
development, quality, production.
No, that is called
The,
different systems. Different system. What I mean to say
okay.
is downstream system. Feel free. I mean, if the answer is not correct, I am there to correct you guys. No need to worry. Okay, so I will explain. See now, employee central system, okay, is integrated with employee central payroll. So what does it mean? The employee compensation data goes to the employee central payroll and the employee are paid. Salaries are paid. Now what happens? The employee central payroll system is connected with the finance system, SAP Finance, or let's say SAP Finance or S4 HANA Finance, S4 Finance, okay? And also the S4 Finance is connected with the budget. Okay, so what happens? For me, one system, employee central to employee central payroll is a integration. From the integrated system, employee central payroll is integrated with finance system, and from finance system, it is integrated with production planning, okay, manufacturing, and let's say quality management, some other module, okay, let's say third. So what you call downstream is from employee central payroll, the other system we call it as downstream system, okay, especially employee central or employee central payroll will have one integration with at least one downstream system, at least with the finance system. I would say the reason is the cost center is come from finance system. So, okay, so in general cost center is created generated in finance system, and it should be integrated with EC and ECP. The reason is whenever they create a new cost center, it should automatically generated in employee central and employee central payroll. It should not be created manually. So okay, so those system is called downstream system. So this downstream is a word very frequently they use in the project. So you should be knowing these terms. If you are not knowing the terms, then it will be, see, you cannot go and ask also. If you feel no, okay, I'm little shy to ask, it will be challenging for you guys to know without knowing what is a downstream system. So you should be knowing these terms. So now the structure. So we discussed the structure, organization structure, okay, pay structure, job structure, location structure. These are the various structures that we need for employee central. Under that, every structure will have a object. Okay, so we call it as foundation objects. Okay, and we call it as MDF objects. When we talk about MDF objects, MDF means metadata framework. Okay, in MDF objects we have a foundation data, foundation objects, generic objects, pay related objects. Three different types of objects are there in MDF. And we will talk about all these objects, how to create, how to configure. When you create the object, where it goes and reflects in the data, and when you, how to correct the data, when you correct the data, what happens, how to delete, when you delete the data, what will happen, what is the impact. When from this data, when we talk about pay grade, where this goes. Okay, so from my point of view, the way I do the training, I don't just do only employee central core training. I will also tell you how the data, okay, if the other system, let's say now you are in a real-time implementation and someone from the production plant module comes and says, okay guys, I want this to be maintained in employee central very clearly, because this particular field I need it for my production planning. Okay, somebody works in the EWM, enterprise warehouse management module, they will say, I want to know in my warehouse if anybody is having allergic. Okay, I want this data to be maintained in employee central under this particular data, so that this will get integrated to my system. So maintaining this data, so you should know, okay, how the data should be maintained, where the data should be maintained. If I maintain the data here, how this will go to the other module, how it will impact the downstream system, whether it goes on the regular basis or the background job runs on the regular basis or periodic, or how it should be. So all these things you should be knowing it. Only then you become a perfect consultant. Okay, you don't need to be panic during that time somebody asks, okay, at that time calling, asking somebody. No, you should know all this clarity that you will be given in the training. Now, what are these objects? Okay, so you have the structure, legal entity, business unit, division, department. These are the four standard structure, organization structure. Location group, location, cost center. So remember this question. Okay, this is also one of the interview question. Cost center, they ask, where do you maintain cost center? What people think, no, yes, we can create cost center in foundation objects, MDF foundation, MDF objects. Under managed data, you can create a cost center, but ideally cost center should not be created, it should be maintained from as per the finance system. Okay, this is the structure, how it will look. Okay, you have first level, second level, third level, up to 4 level we can maintain the structure, org structure. So you can see it here. Legal entity or the company, which is the top in the hierarchy, and then you have a business unit, then you have a division and a department. Of course, business, you should know the location, location group, and geozone. So location, I would say, okay, Bangalore, location group, then geozone. Geozone will be Asia specific. Okay, like that, it should be maintained clearly. And cost center, that is maintained for every position. Okay, so it's maintained at the employee level and also at the position level, but depends on the customer where they wanted to maintain. So they wanted to maintain at the employee level. And also there is something called alternate cost center also, that I will explain you during the training. little more clarity. Okay. And now, okay, so Employee Central and SAP HCM. Okay. Yes, I saw the structure, everything. How do you map the structure with SAP HCM or HSM? HXM? You should know, okay, in Employee Central, I call it as company or legal entity, but in SAP HCM, it is called company code, okay. Position in Employee Central, there it is called position. There is a code for it. Yes, okay. Business unit called as org unit code, okay. And division department, you have a job classification, there it is called job. Cost center, it is called cost center there, but there's a code called K for cost center there in SAP HCM. Now the data, okay, how the structure for the data is maintained here. Now you can see here what are the different structures. So now you have pay component group and pay components. Okay, what is pay component? We can say one. Okay, base salary, uniform allowance, car allowance, housing allowance, and this. So when you say base salary, basic pay, they maintain single pay component. Whereas when they say allowances, they are maintaining four different components put together called allowances. So how do you put four components? You have to put four components into component group, pay component group. In that pay component group, you can add all these four pay component and make it as allowances as a one pay component group. Same with target bonus. Okay, you can have multiple pay components can be added into one single pay component group, and you can say target bonus. Okay, then you will have pay grade, geozone, company, comp ratio, range penetration, and the range also. Okay, any employee. Okay, so when you talk about range, there's three different category: minimum, medium, maximum. Okay, so you should know. Let's say I'm going to hire a success factor consultant. Okay, at a executive, let's say level 1. Okay, success factor consultant level 1. Okay, now the company will have a package. Okay, let's say 10 lakhs should be minimum, 15 lakhs should be maximum. Okay, so the HR can fix the CTC between 10 lakhs to 15 lakhs. So 10 lakhs falls under minimum, 15 is maximum. If they say 12, 13 lakhs, 14 lakhs, then it is a mid. Okay, these are the three different pay range will be fixed. So now the same pay group. Okay, so how you have it? Payroll area, groups, and calendar. So you can have pay group 1, 2, and you can also have the calendar. So what is pay calendar? So employees are paid. If it is a factory labors, they will be paid weekly. If it is regular employees, let's say a white collar job, they'll be paid monthly. Okay, so based on that, we need to maintain the data. If it is weekly paid, then the data goes to the payroll system. So it could be HCM payroll system or employee central payroll system or any payroll system. The data goes on the weekly basis if it is weekly salary, monthly basis if it is monthly salary. And this is the structure: pay scale area, pay scale type, then you will have pay scale group and pay scale level. So this creation of each data, okay, so that will be covered in the detailed training. Now job and position. Okay, so this is one of the predominantly doubt that every consultant will have, the difference between job and position. So just focus on this particular one. What is job? Okay, I'll give a very clear one. Okay, senior manager, or let's say senior procurement manager, is a position and job title is general manager. Okay, so general manager is a title, but the position is senior procurement manager. In the same, they can also have, instead of general manager, they can have a senior manager title also. They can have a assistant general manager title also. So, okay, so you can have different title. So there's a difference. So this I will explain very clearly in the actual training. Okay, because here it would be more time consuming if I start explaining all these concepts here. So HR transactions. Okay, what are the transactions? So if you remember, I was talking about event and event reasons. I was talking actions and action reasons from the SAP HCM. Now, an employee who's getting a promotion, a simple one. Employee promotion is initiated in the system. It goes for approval. Manager approves, senior manager approves, HR approves. Employee has been promoted. So that is called event. So the promotion is a event. Okay, and the event reason, not every promotion should have a pay change. Okay, so hike, sometimes they will only give a promotion without a change, pay hike. So event is promotion. The event reason could be promotion with salary change, promotion without salary change. It could be any reason. A transfer, we can take it as one reason. Transfer within the business unit, within the location. These could be event reasons. So there are three uh, differences. Event and event reasons. Differences are there. And make one point here. If you want, you can write down also. Event reasons can be created. Okay, events cannot be created. It should be only standard event. You need to use it in the system. Okay, the standard event that are available, only those can be used, and event reasons you can create a custom event reasons. And this is one of the interview question and also one of the certification question. Okay, workflow. So we discussed about workflow. Whenever the workflow goes, it goes for a approval, and once the workflow is initiated, if the manager is the approver, he will get the alert and notification. Okay, so and so approval workflow is pending for your approval. Okay, and in workflow also you will have how many days you can stall the workflow. Okay, how many periodically after every 2 days you want to send a reminder to approve the workflow. Those can be configured in the workflow. Now, as I said, these are the various events and event reasons. Okay, so these many event reasons available, these many events that are available. So we will have a detailed discussion about these events and event reasons in the actual training, because that is one of the a large topic to cover, and there are various event reasons are available in the standard itself. Okay, see, just imagine termination. Termination is one of the event. Under termination, see, there are so many event reasons: death, dismissal, early retirement, end of contract, normal retirement, redundancy, self-initiated, termination, probation fail, no show, TUPR out, and voluntary resignation. There are so many things. Okay. Now the landscape. Okay, so how the data looks. Okay, if you talk about personal information, biographical information, national ID, all these are all one of the portlets where the data looks. Same for the employment. Okay, how the data employment details, and this employment details portlet contains both the information, employment details and also termination details. Okay, and compensation. In compensation, what are the data available? Compensation, pay component recurring, pay component non-recurring, and there's one-time payment also. Okay. These are the various data that are captured and maintained in the respective objects. A portlet, how a data will look. Personal information is one of the portlet. Okay. And in the personal information, what data you are maintaining it. Same with global information. Same with biographical information. So data elements that are maintained. Field. So now what is, see, what we saw here is a portlet. Personal information. All these fields are called as portlet. But here it is field. First name, last name, middle name, they are called fields. Okay. And these are the various objects. You have personal information portlet, address, emergency, dependence, pay compensation, national ID, work eligibility. Similarly, employment objects, you have job information, org information, the job relationship, compensation data. All these are all portlets. And this is the landscape. Okay, so what you see or what do you call in the SAP ECC or the SAP HCM system and in SuccessFactor. So this is very important, and also this is must to know, so that when you are doing an actual implementation, it will be more useful for you. You can do the implementation without any tension if you know the differences. Okay, so what you see here is info type 00, info type 01, info type 02, 04, 06, all these things. And the green ones is what data in SAP under this particular, let's say SAP info type 6 is a address info type. In employee central, address information portlet. Okay, so I'll talk about info type 9 is a bank details. Okay. In employee central, it is called payment information, which is nothing but bank data. Okay. Similarly, info type 14 is a pay component recurring. Here we have separate portlet called pay component recurring. Like that, you should be doing, and you don't need to know them by God, but you should have this information in your handy with you. Whenever they ask any question comes, you should be able to go through, understand, and face the customer. Okay, because when they talk in SAP language, you should know the language. So you no need to be expert in that. You should know what they are talking. That is more important. And you can see the differences. How the SAP system data looks, how the SAP HCM system looks. Okay, so this is how the SuccessFactor data will look. This is how the SAP HCM data will look here. Example, info type 2 personal data. Now, info type 105 communication data. In the SuccessFactor, we have contact information, which consists of your email address and the mobile number. And here you have payment information, bank details. And you have something called global assignment. Okay, you can make a note of this. When someone says global assignment, this is nothing but on-site opportunity. Simple term, global assignment, on-site opportunity. And the global assignment can be into two different. One is short term, long term. Short term on-site, long term on-site. Very simple. Okay, short term on-site, you will come back to your host country. Like, no, the country you are in is a home country. The country where you go is a host country. So from host country, you will come back to home country. If it is long term, you will directly get transferred to the host country. So you can see the global assignment data, home country data, and also the host country data here. And the same with the job information org structure. So when they say job information, info type 0, 1, 16, all these are all maintained. So all these three info type data is maintained under one single portlet called job information. Okay. Same with compensation data. All these info types are maintained there for SAP HCM. And pay component recurring. Additional payments, we call it as pay component non-recurring. Okay. Organization management. How the structure will look in SuccessFactor, the org management, org chart structure. And same you have for position also. Based on the position hierarchy, the parent position, we call it as parent position. Based on that, it will look. And concurrent employment. Okay, so concurrent employment is or multiple employment is nothing but one employee is working. Let's say two different employment is doing as a part-timer. Okay, so in, let's say this happens mostly in the retail industry. In one of the showroom, he will work as a cashier. In another showroom, in morning he will work 4 hours as a cashier in one showroom, one retail outlet. In another retail outlet, in the second half of the day, evening, he will work as a supervisor. Same company, two different roles he will be playing. So like that, it will be for concurrent employment. RBP, which is very important. Okay, in SAP HCM, we call it as security and permission, securities. And security consultant we will have. Similarly for RBP also, any big projects, they will have RBP consultant. You will hear the role called RBP consultant, who will be just doing the permissions role only. Okay. So when we talk about RBP, role based permissions, okay, who should have what access? The HR, okay, as a HR should have access, what access you should have, on whom he should have. And HR in Bangalore should have access, control over the employees in Bangalore. Very simple term. But how we do that in the configuration? On field by field we have to do, and it's one of the very lengthy and long topics. We will discuss them in detail in the training sessions. And what are the various standard RBP roles are there? Okay, these are the standard RBP roles that are already exist in SuccessFactors standard system. And workbook, which is a very important heart of the project. Okay, so workbook you prepare when you do a session, workshop session with the customer, iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3. You prepare the workbook, you fill all the data in the workbook. Okay, so I have mentioned the workbooks that are related to employee central. Okay, so workbooks very important, very vast, and every field by field we need to fill the data in the workbook, so which is very important. Once the workbook is signed off by the customer, it is an unbreakable rule that whatever we mentioned in the workbook should be followed and should be configured in the system. Okay, fine. So with this the demo class is completed. Any question, feel free to ask me. I will be happy to answer all your questions. And the content, okay, now whatever I told, I have made it as a content. I can share this. Those who are in the actual class, I will be sharing this deck and the content to the candidates. Yes. Any questions now? Q&A session. Feel free to
Dinesh,
ask me questions.
Jyoti here, Dinesh. Will you
Yeah.
share this recording with us?
Recording, I will upload it in YouTube. You can ping me those who wanted
Oh.
it. I will share it, or I will put it in Google Drive and I will share it. I'm honestly not sure. I will do that either way.
No worries. Yeah. Okay.
Fine. I mean, recording is okay. Any questions related to Employee Central Success Factor? Ahmad, yes, Ahmad.
I need what about the corporate data model and success
Yes,
upload
yeah, data model is
first
part of the provisioning
and
activity.
prepare?
Okay, so I will be doing it. All the data models. So we have mentioned here. See data models. Okay, it's mentioned here in the content. I'll show here. So you have here. See data model. What are the data models currently in place? What are the data models that are now not in place, not used? See XML. It's a very almost 3 to 4 hours of session only on the data model and XML. So if you remember, I told in the initial session, no, you do the provisioning activities and you do this what to say technical work, right? This is the technical work you will be doing it in the XML. That will be taken care. Don't worry. Yeah. Any other questions? Priya, you just now joined. You want okay demo? I'll send you the demo sessions link. Any other questions?
Hi, Ashutosh here.
Yes.
Dinesh, what are the timing of this sessions? Means
Yes, good question. Okay, so I prefer, okay, so I mean, because sometime in the evening people are too busy, they are not able to attend. I prefer probably morning sessions. Okay, I think let me stop the recording here since we are done with the demo. 1 second.